So he's the voice for all the MPs within Ontario. So we listen to him in everything that we're trying to do across Ontario and across Canada. So that's where we all applaud. Let me talk in French just a second. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'on essaie de faire? C'est de faire en sorte de protéger les emplois, de créer les emplois et également d'attirer du talent et des investissements ici au pays.
Industry Minister Mélanie Joly held one of the most unexpectedly energetic and confident press conferences we've seen from a senior Canadian official in quite some time today. And what made the moment stand out was not just the announcement itself, but the mood surrounding it. Joly was visibly relaxed, joking with the room, making the audience laugh repeatedly, and projecting a level of confidence that reflected something much bigger than a standard funding announcement. Because while today's event was officially centered around a major $165 million federal investment into Centennial College and Canada's future workforce development, the most politically significant moment came when she was challenged directly on the uncertainty and pressure continuing to come from Donald Trump and the White House. And instead of sounding defensive or concerned, Joly made it clear that Canada is no longer operating from a position where instability coming from south of the border dictates Canada's confidence or economic direction. Before we break down her remarks and why they matter politically, make sure you're subscribed to Canada Today for sharp, fact-driven analysis on the forces reshaping Canada and its place in the world.
So were you told at any time by the Americans or any members of your own government that your efforts to penalize Stellantis for failing to honor its employment guarantees were undermining the trade talks with the U.S.?
First, no. And second, I must say, we will always fight for auto workers. We know that the American tariffs are illegal and unjustified, and my job and the job of the government is always to make sure that we have the utmost interests of Canadians in mind, and that's why we take our positions to make sure that we defend them.
And what do you make of the fact that the Americans seem to be bringing up this complaint some 6 months after it happened? Is it a sign that they are trying to put perhaps some pressure on this government to come back to the table?
Listen, we will continue to deal with unpredictability coming from the White House. Not only we are, but the rest of the world also is. I've been in contact with also my colleague, my counterpart in the EU, as the EU is facing a similar situation. And my goal ultimately is to make sure that we're building the economy here and building Canada strong. And so while there are many things we can't control in the world, and we can't control what's going on in the White House, there are many things we can control here at home. And we can control how we build this country and how we also invest in our talent. And that's exactly why I'm here today, along with Michael and Dolly, to make the right investments in the people that build this country. Woo! Yeah.
What makes Joly's response politically significant is not simply that she criticized American tariffs or acknowledged unpredictability coming from the White House, but how confident and unbothered she sounded while doing it. There was no sense here that Canada was operating from fear or uncertainty. Instead, Joly repeatedly emphasized that Canada is building strength at home, investing in its workforce, and expanding partnerships beyond the United States, reflecting a much broader shift now taking place in Canada's economic strategy. And that is exactly the kind of message that challenges Trump's worldview, because it undermines the assumption that economic pressure automatically forces countries into greater dependence on the United States. What Canada is increasingly trying to demonstrate instead is that unpredictability from Washington is pushing countries to diversify, adapt, and build alternative partnerships rather than simply fall in line.
I've heard great things about Centennial Colleges. I've read so many notes about it back in Ottawa and also in my hometown of Montreal. But I'm really happy to finally be here, because really this is such an important gem. And the reason why I'm here, I must say, is first and foremost to say thank you. Thank you to all the teachers that are really putting their hearts and minds into supporting our students. Thank you to all of you. Thank you for all your hard work and while you're studying and getting the right skills for the future. And also thank you to management, to Craig and your team, because this is a really, really important institution in everything that we're trying to do across Ontario and across Canada. So that's where we all applaud.
What makes today's announcement more significant than a routine funding story is that Joly repeatedly frames Canada's workforce and educational institutions as the foundation of the country's long-term economic resilience. Throughout the speech, she emphasizes that Canada's greatest strength is not just its geography or resources, but its people, its skilled workers, and its ability to train talent capable of competing globally in sectors like advanced manufacturing, aerospace, and research. So this $165 million investment into Centennial College is really part of a much broader strategy, one focused on preparing Canada for a global economy that is becoming more competitive and increasingly shaped by geopolitical uncertainty. And despite all the instability she references throughout the speech, Joly consistently projects optimism and confidence, reinforcing the idea that Canada intends to keep building and moving forward rather than retreating into uncertainty.
Because, you know, when you think about it, Canada has a lot of great things. We have a fantastic geography, we have fantastic natural resources, great technology, etc. But fundamentally, our biggest strength is our people. And so we also see that in everything that is going on in the world right now as a competitive advantage. Because remember, Canada has the most educated workforce in the world. And so we're part of something that makes us unique in the world. And so what we're seeing today at work is the fact that we're preparing you, and the team here is preparing you to be the best auto workers, the best plant workers also in aerospace, in advanced manufacturing, doing the right research, being able to have the right skills for everything that is so important to build our country strong. And in these circumstances, Dolly, Michael, and my job is to work with you to foster the right environment, to foster the right economy for you to be able to develop these skills and have good jobs. And so at the time where there's so many unpredictability in the world, so many geopolitical tensions, what we need to do is first to protect jobs that are impacted by the trade war. We need to create jobs also, notwithstanding everything that is going on, to be able to be confident and build the country strong. And we need to attract talent and investment. Et donc, let me talk in French just a second. So, donc, qu'est-ce qu'on essaie de faire? C'est de faire en sorte de protéger les emplois, de créer les emplois et également d'attirer du talent et des investissements ici au pays. And so, we're doing that today. Today, I'm very, very happy to announce that we will be investing $165 million in the College and Community Innovation Program, which is delivered here by also the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council, which, of course, we all know, on the part of the three Tri-Council agencies. And so the goal of this program is really to help colleges such as Centennial College to have access to funds, to invest in research, and to be able then to train you well, and also work with businesses, companies that need the skills and the research that you're developing. So this will be really, really good news for community colleges across the country, CEGEP, that we call in my home province also. And I think it brings a breath of fresh air as of course we wanted to reinvest and make sure that this program would continue. Donc, 165 millions pour le programme d'innovation dans les collèges et la communauté financé par le Conseil de recherche en sciences naturelles et en génie du Canada. So we know that Centennial College is top-notch. We want to make sure that the diploma that you will get following your studies and your hard work here is actually worth the best in the world. So congratulations.
What today's press conference ultimately revealed is that Mélanie Joly and the broader Canadian government are trying to project a very different kind of posture than the one Canada historically adopted during periods of economic tension with the United States. Rather than appearing cautious, reactive, or dependent on political stability coming from Washington, the message throughout this event was that Canada intends to keep investing, keep diversifying, and keep building partnerships regardless of uncertainty coming from south of the border. And what made the moment politically effective was not just the content of Joly's remarks, but the tone with which she delivered them. The confidence, the humor, the relaxed atmosphere, and the repeated emphasis on Canada's talent and long-term strength all reinforce the idea that the government wants Canadians to see this moment not as a period of retreat or fear, but as an opportunity to build a more independent and resilient economy moving forward. If you want analysis,